Hello, hello, hello to all the good people. So excited to be here today. We're going to give a few minutes and let people come into the room so I can tell you about some good news. Yes, we got some good news going on today. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining. We're talking about taking all the craziness out of the lean startup. Hello, hello. Glad you could join us. We're talking about starting like a rocket. I know a lot of us will start business and we execute plans, but we really haven't thought about the footwork. And so today we're going to be talking about the footwork in lean startups that begin with the end in mind, and that's called survival, right? Survival by canvassing the customer, because a lot of times we have been taught that business plans, those are the ways to go. Not necessarily the wrong thing, but there's just the prerequisite to the business plan that will help you to write the perfect business plan. Because who really knows the business model that they're going to launch before they launch it? No one. Because if you haven't talked to the customers, then you literally have not developed a great business model, because plans change and change and change until you get it right, until you finally figure out who is my customer, right? So this is Dr. Eve Angel Savage over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise, where I teach individuals to identify, initiate, and implement strategies for distinction using investment principles. Investment readiness. Yes, we get people ready for the investors. There have been 8 million at least businesses that have launched over the years, and many of them are strapped for cash, closing their doors, can't hire anyone, just literally finding themselves exhausted for funds. And a lot of that is because of the canvassing process that did not take place prior to the business plan that they executed. So today we're going to be talking about and introducing to you a new concept that is not necessarily new, but one that's discussed by the Harvard Business School, a business model canvas. And in business model canvassing, you literally are identifying your partners. Yes, you literally are putting in place on the wall a map, a roadmap of what your business is going to look like as it evolves over the next few weeks. So we already identify who are you, who are going to be your partners, what activities will you have, what resources will you use, your products, your value proposition, what are your products, and who's going to buy them. What about your customer relationships? What distribution channels will you use? And customer segments. Who are your customers? That is so very, very important to identify those things. And these things are a part of the mapping process that go hand in hand with what we call business model canvassing. And what you do in business model canvassing is you literally go out and you talk to customers. You actually gather the evidence. You gather the evidence that's going to allow you to put together some data to help you have a more concrete map of going about execution of your business with a business model that has been studied, that has been sorted, that has been tweaked, that has been pivoted, that has been, changing over time until you have identified who is your market. I honestly can say that I've gone through this for the last 2 or 3 years as I finished my degree, of who would I serve, literally, and how would I go about doing that. Well, as a professor or instructor, my thing is teaching. So teach the concepts, but teach it from a distance perspective. So I'm looking for people who want to learn in an online environment. Not necessarily, while I can offer things in the community, I'm looking at people who want to learn in an online environment. I'm looking at that person who wants to start a business, who wants to start up a business, who literally has started up a business but has to go back to the drawing board to start up a business. So it took me a while to make the discoveries as to what my customer would look like. And so doing the canvassing process, you're going out and you're talking to customers, or you're providing a service, or you're teaching, and as all the while you're learning who your customer really is. And so I'm truly excited about teaching this new concept of the business model canvas. And this is going to be taught in a 6-week course, launching and branding, over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise. Our next course begins July 5th, where we'll begin to take the consumer, who is the business owner, from point A to point Z over a 6-week period of gathering the data of who is my primary customer, who's going to buy. Because in business, it's about buying. It's about providing, adding value. It's solving a problem, filling a gap, but most importantly, who's going to buy your product. So very important to gauge who that someone is, because inevitably you want revenues. If you're looking to grow your company and increase your profitability, then you're certainly looking to get into a position of finding funding, not necessarily your own. Who wants to just keep spending their money? But you may potentially have a market where you can identify a potential investor who can partner with you in certain aspects of your company, where you can then broaden your scope of practice, broaden your potential consumer line with a person who has some complementary skills that they can use to increase your overall revenues and your business productivity. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about in that class is going to be your customer segments. Who's your customer? How did you get there? And value proposition. That's your products. What are you offering? Because before you can know who your customer is, you have to identify what your product is. Your product is going to potentially lead to who your customer is, because your product isn't sold to everyone. For example, I have a young man who just starting up his business. He's going to actually be taking the class on July 5th, and he is in school for car customization. So with him, well, he's not going to target somebody who doesn't own a car, because that's not his market. He's certainly not going to target someone who is not interested in cars. So he has to identify, well, where are his customers? Who's going to buy? Where do they hang out? Those kinds of things. And so we're going to be looking at those concepts: the value proposition, which is the product. 2, what are his customer segments? What is his role, his initial plan? And in the initial plan, we know that business plans are like roller coasters. They're up and they're down until you gauge where you really are, who your customer is. You really are on a roller coaster ride until you have figured that thing out. And it usually starts, if you're going to do a lean startup, you're going to navigate through a set of processes until you have figured out who your customer is. What are your channel distributions? Where will you find them? What resources will you use? What activities will you use? Who are your partners? These are the things that are going to determine your costs, your revenue streams, and these are designed by a series of experiments. You're going to run some experiments in the course. You're going to get out and you're going to look at your customer. You're going to talk to your customer, and you're going to develop a plan, a map that essentially will get you on the road to success as a startup, like a rocket. And this is important, folks, very, very important, because you don't want to waste time. Many people will go into business and they will just waste time spinning their wheels, and they will get absolutely come back to part A, where they should have began on that roller coaster, and truly utilize the skills that are necessary to identify their market. So very excited to tell you about this class. Very, very excited for those who are interested in getting started up and getting moving with learning how to be a lean startup. This is Dr. Eve Angel Savage over at Audacity Group Social Enterprise, where I teach people to identify, initiate, and implement strategies for distinction from an investment readiness perspective using lean principles. It's very, very important to use those lean principles in order to magnify your opportunities for success. So visit us at www.audacitygroup.socialenterprise.com. We are now getting ready for our July 5th class, which starts next Tuesday. The class is $149. It's worth every bit of the investment. If you're going to move hastily towards success, $149 is no more than $20 a week. We're basically giving this class away. So get yourself into the class, because 6 weeks of learning how to survive in business is the very first step that anyone should take who's interested in making a go, truly making a go in business, a successful business. So remember, we're going to be teaching through canvassing the lean principles of customer segments, value proposition, customer relationships, your data streams, your key resources, cost structures, things of that nature, to get you to prosper in business. Very excited to be before you today. Thank you for following me at I Am an Angel. I am an angel investor. So thank you for following me. Thank you for all those who join me on the replay. Please remember to share with your friends, share with your followers. Thank you so very much. We're excited to get you started like a rocket.